Hello, we are live. Great. Well, hello. We are streaming now to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. We are talking to you on one of those channels. So thank you for joining us here. Angel speaking. It is April, and we are wrapping up Allyship Month in Angel Speaking World. And allyship has all been about giving our wannabe allies, turning them to active allies, and giving them practical, actionable tools that they can do to show up for underrepresented populations. Okay. So if you are an active ally and you have been kind of following here for the last month, you've heard a lot about coaching, mentoring, the importance of sponsoring. We've talked about diversifying your network, right? Getting outside of your comfort zone and stretching to connect with other people that you don't normally on a day-to-day basis connect with or work with or live around, right? So all of those are great tools and techniques and things that you can do, but really it kind of starts with you wanting to do them. So that's where I have invited Sonal Sheth Zawahri to join us to talk about the feeling, right? Like there's a catalyst, and it starts with the heart. It starts with the feeling of, hey, I want to do more than I've been doing. And as a result, you hear a lot of DE&I experts talk about emotional intelligence and empathy. And so I want to turn this question over to Sonal to figure out really, like, in layman's terms, what do these two terms mean? If you've heard of them and you're really not quite sure how they're defined, in layman's terms, how are they defined and how are they related? Sonal?
Hi, Angel. Thank you so much. You're phenomenal. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all the work you're doing because it's so important today. And so we hear things like emotional intelligence and we hear empathy. And so what I wanted to do real quickly is make sure people understand what that means, right? When we think about emotional intelligence, it's not a fancy schmancy word for stuff that doesn't matter. It really is a word that simply defines, what matters to us. Have you taken the time for self-awareness to go, what are my strengths? What are my gifts? What's important to me? What's my why? Okay. And once you figure that out, okay, what am I doing about it? And it sounds, Angel, like you've been talking about the doingness, which is great. But you're right. If you're a doer, like if you're busy without a purpose, then the busyness has no value.
Oh, if you're busy without a purpose.
And so those are the people who want to win awards for just being busy, right? Like I get the best. And then they walk away and they're like, but what did I get from that? Because is it in alignment with what matters to you, your values? And then are you aware of what matters to the people around you? If you're in your own home, let's take it to a personal level, the friends in your life, the people in your life, your family, if you have pets, what matters to everyone around you? On an organizational level, the people in the space around you, what matters to them? Are their values in alignment with yours and the people around you? Are they in alignment with the purpose and values of the organization that you choose to serve? That's where empathy comes in. See, empathy is a part of social awareness. It's about understanding and listening to others and saying things like, if you're doing something that's sympathetic, right? Because that's where the confusion is, sympathy and empathy.
Yes.
So sympathy is feeling sorry for. So you might say something like, I'm very sorry for what you're going through. That's sympathy.
Yes. Okay. If somebody experienced a loss or they lost their job.
Yes, I'm deeply sorry for what you're going through. Empathy would sound more like, I understand how you're feeling and you're not alone.
Okay.
It's a step deeper, and it lets people, I want you to think about this for a minute. How do you receive the information? If someone says that to you, what does it evoke in them? What does it evoke in you if it's said to you? If someone said you're not alone, all of a sudden, especially with COVID and everything else, now I'm feeling heard. And when I feel heard, I feel like I matter. And when I feel like I matter, I show up with purpose. So
you just drew a beautiful connection from diversifying and doing the work to really thinking about how do we bridge this into belonging, which that bridge, of course, we talk about is inclusion. So really having the emotional intelligence, turning on this empathy switch inside of you is really, that's the vehicle that's going to get folks to feel truly belonging in their organizations and like you said, even in their families.
Well, it is. And the last part of the emotional intelligence there, because when I do training in EI and DEI and B, I really focus on the inclusion and belonging, because that to me is the emotional intelligence aspect, just like you said. And if I want to create a feeling of belongingness or allow people to walk into a space, you can invite someone to a table. Awesome. That's what we've been working on, right? That's Allie. Let's invite you to the table. But Angel, I'm going to take a step back. See, I come in for the next step. So I invited you to the table. Do you feel like you belong here?
Mm-hmm.
Even better. Do I treat you as though you belong here? Yeah. And that's the fourth component of emotional intelligence, is relationship management. Now that I'm in awareness of what matters around to the people around me, what am I doing to build that trust and relationship in my beingness?
Yeah.
I could say I honor and value inclusion and belonging, but I could be sitting like this. And since this is live, I could be like, you're talking and you're saying something so important. I'm like,
with your arms crossed, folded back, lean back.
Or I could even be doing this. That's great. What would you, sorry, what? And so it's so critical that people realize.
Get out of my room. You're all in the room.
I'm sorry.
You're all in the room. So it's important. Yes. While I'm on my device. And wow. Okay. So let me summarize for the audience there in terms of there's a lot of words, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, emotional intelligence, empathy, blah, blah. At the end of the day, people, what we're just talking about is you no longer just to get to show up in a space and just do your thing and leave, right? At the end of the day, it's let me be aware of who's in the room, maybe who's not in the room, more importantly, right? When we're talking about diversity, and what I can do to help make this space better, right? That's really the heart of it, right? Okay, so for those that get it, right? So for those of us that are watching and have been, like I said, on this journey with us all this month, and they get it, they're like, okay, Angel, you told me what to do. Sonal's explained to me now how the empathy chip and being aware. I get it. How can I stretch? How can I, as an individual, move into this space?
So I love that you asked that, because my brand is heavy stretching.
I know
it. Woo! How do you stretch?
Yes.
Well, first of all, you can't step into action. I can't jump until I connect the synapses in my brain to tell my body. Look, I don't know about all of you out there, but my brain sees a lot of things that I'm capable of. And then my body's like, you didn't ask my permission, right? So I say that to you when you're stretching. Stretching is an intention. It's an objective. It's something you set. But you can't set that if you don't have a tone or attitude that comes from behind it. And that's what my chapter 2 talks about in T in stretching, is tone and attitude. So let me give you an example.
Okay.
God, I'm going to lose some weight versus I got to lose weight. Versus, did you say I need to lose weight?
Ooh.
Right? So what's shifted in all three of those deliveries?
Yes.
The tone and the attitude. And based on the tone and attitude, I promise you this, trust me on this, that will motivate how you step into action, because you will either be driven or you will be unmotivated. And if you set those goals to be not very successful, and let me give you an example. I'm making this up. I will lose 25 pounds in the next year.
Okay.
Or I will quit eating chocolate until I lose 10 pounds. Which one's most achievable?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that.
It'll be hard,
but I can do it.
Right. The second one is more concrete, set with intention, set with specifics versus very general. So I tell everyone out there, when you're setting intentions, when you're setting a stretch, Do it with being thoughtful in mind of the very first next step. Don't set out the entire stretch. Set up just, if we're doing the alphabet, A to B. Don't go from A to Z, because you will quit before you're where you need to get. And so stretching is critical, but do it baby step at a time.
I love it. I love it. You're talking now, you're talking our language around agile mindset, right? Like, hey, being inclusive and showing up like as an active ally. That sounds like a lot, right? That's overwhelming just saying it right now, right? But if it's like, hey, no, in the very next meeting, the very next Zoom call that I'm on, I'm going to make sure that I acknowledge everybody on that call, that I'll make sure that there's space for everyone to contribute and talk. I will ask folks' opinions, right? And I will just be more mindful of again, how I show up and how I am bringing others along and including them in the space. Like that, I'm just going to do that in my very next call.
Can I add something to that, Angel?
Absolutely.
Because being mindful of that is great, but here's something a lot of us do, including myself. Okay. It's an intention. If be smart about it. Be thoughtful, like you're talking about. But if you have a room of 15 humans and you're saying, I'm going to be more socially aware and I'm going to implement my EI skill sets and my empathy skill sets.
I'm stretching.
Be careful, because if you have 15 people in the room and you have an hour meeting, can you realistically say, I'm going to give the floor to 15 different people and get through everything we have to get through? So what happens in spaces like that is the leader that's doing that concept, because they mean well, ends up stopping. Maybe I'm making this up. Maybe at person number 7 saying, that's great. Okay, guys, we're going to have to speed things up. Tell me how person number 8 through 15 are now feeling.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm dismissed. Yep. Again, it shifts the belongingness. So what you have to do when you go in and decide to implement is craft very like small bitty pieces. Like today, we're just going to start with, tell us where you're from and one thing that no one knows about you. And you have 1 minute. Go. So I just encourage people to do that, because it's so easy to get excited and it's so easy to want to be inclusive and help people to belong. But then we run out of time, and then we step into a mode of, oh my God, we ran out of time. And then people feel like, oh, I'm not important because she didn't get to me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. No, and so you all see, as you can see, intention, purpose, passion, the heart to want to do great and good work and be inclusive, but you can unintentionally do harm, right? Plenty of examples where we do work where folks have the good thought, which is step 1, as we're talking about here today, but then accidentally step into it and unintentionally, hurt or harm other folks. And so that was one little teeny tiny little example. We've got some bigger ones. So I will stop there and say, Sonal is a part of the Angel Speaking Network, right? Along with her and many other trainers in the space. And as we can see, it's not easy work, right? So you want to leverage her skill sets, the examples, her experience, and help do this work for yourself and your organization in the right way, right? So Sonal, thank you so much for your time. And with that, I want you to tell us how we can find you and maybe highlight some of the work that you're doing right now with organizations, because this whole time we've been talking about the individual, right, and the person, but you come in at the organizational level, right? So talk to us a little bit about that before we go.
Yeah, thank you. So the one lane that I hone in on, the 3 topics are emotional intelligence, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and my book, Have You Stretched Today? And so what that looks like at the organizational level, Angel, is I've been speaking with some pretty important companies of all sizes right now, where they're saying, gosh, we're hiring all these people. We have a lot of turnover. We need to design these are my words. We need to design your culture. You're saying that you want to hone in and figure out what's going to be your team culture, your company culture. Well, that I get to now come in and I've designed programs where I get to go in and teach them about emotional intelligence. They get to know each other and their strengths and the areas of growth that are needed. They learn how to understand that. And then we teach them how to implement. It's all action oriented. It's implementation at its core level. And so we do that through the emotional intelligence and diversity trainings that I offer as a program. And then I also have my workbook series where I go in and I teach people, how do you stretch? How can you use this as a tool? Because once I can teach you how to use my workbook as a tool, then you can go out there and teach others and be the leader you want to be, whether it's the leader in your home or the leader in a classroom or the leader in an organization of any size. And last but not least, I think, I designed these decks of cards where I like to teach people how to celebrate others. And the goal is to have these decks of cards and to pass them out, to put them in the mail, to leave them at someone's desk. And they're cards that share with others how you value them. So you value them and say, I value you because you show up, or you have a hawk's eye for great detail. Ladies and gentlemen, to me, when people feel valued, they show up on purpose. And when they show up on purpose, they do their work. And when they do their work, the company as a whole benefits. So I love going into spaces to teach people how to do that, because you can be told in the world over and over and over and over again, do this. But when you walk away, you're like, it's a lot. And I get to come in and say, let me be with you, stand with you in this journey,
Yes.
guide you through.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much. I am so grateful and thank you that you're part of the Girl Tribe. You're part of the professional network, and for the work that you're doing, because it is absolutely needed. And so I'll end with how I always end. For those of you that are watching, don't go it alone, right? Leverage us, leverage the help that is available to you. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. And again, we have just years of experience and lessons learned that can help, right? So speed to transition and transformation quickly, right? That's what we're talking about, how to do that fast. So thank you again for your time. Look forward to what you're doing next and all that you're into. And for those of you that are following, we will be right back here between 12 and 12:45 on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And next month, the month of May for Angel Speaking, is all about mental health and awareness in the workplace. All right. More to come there. Yeah. All right. Take care. Thanks. Have a great afternoon, all.
Bye.
Happy Friday.